What is up, my people? It is the most consistently inconsistent entertainment podcast out there, the Canon Culture Podcast. It is once again another episode. This is your host, Just Jay Sama. Unfortunately, producer Plank is not with us today. This is kind of a spur of the moment, got some explaining to do type of situation, and we're also going to talk about some pretty interesting topics today. But first, let's go ahead and get this out of the way and say thank you to one of our sponsors for today's episode. That's right, we came back with a sponsor. If you guys are hearing the beautiful melodic music that we have going on in the background, that is actually provided by TBH, aka the Black Hokage, aka Modern War Negro. So shout out to him. He actually has a 24-hour live stream lo-fi music channel. Make sure to go and check that out. He actually provided an entire album specifically for content creators to use. So shout out, big shout out to him. I reached out to him and asked him, hey, can we use this for commercial purposes? He says, absolutely, as long as you give credit. So we're going to go ahead and give him credit for this episode. Guys, if you need any type of background audio, lo-fi, or even just something to listen to while you're doing your homework and chilling, shit like that, go ahead and check that out. There's going to be a link down in the description of this episode. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Now, I'm sure you guys are wondering, Jay, what is going on? It's been like 4 months. It really has been probably 4, 5, 6 months. I'm not even sure at this point, since I last not only put out a YouTube video, like a full-fledged YouTube video, but also just any type of content whatsoever for the podcast. People are really wondering, like, what has been going on the past couple of months. So, essentially, I got really deep into my job. I started a business, which was very interesting because I did not expect to do that. It's going okay. I think we got our first 2 clients, so I'm doing mostly digital marketing, so that's cool. I don't know if I really want to shade my previous employer. I absolutely feel like I could, though. Essentially, like, they ran out of money and didn't tell me that they were running out of money. And so I was kind of like let go from my job. So we'll just like leave it at that. It's not like, it was mutual or anything by any means whatsoever. But honestly, I'm so glad to no longer be working for that place. And then I was forced to move out. So fortunately, this new young lady I'm seeing, she was like, hey, you know what? I have an idea. And so now I have a home. So we're just going to leave it at that. Super vague. I'm sure you guys can put 2 and 2 together. If not, don't worry about it. So, so that's kind of been going on for that. And I just have not had a setup put together at all. I haven't had a setup. I haven't had my computers available for a while. I didn't even have internet for a while because I just was like not willing to pay for it. Which, by the way, fuck Spectrum. You guys are absolute terrible service. No matter, like, if you work for Spectrum also, I understand that you're just doing your job, but respectfully, fuck you. I can't stand that fucking company. Absolute garbage. But yeah, there's that. What else? Not really much has been going on. I've actually been spending a lot of time studying. And when I say studying, I mean specifically like watching very productive content. One of the things that I've actually really been paying attention to, which we're actually going to talk about a little bit on today's episode. At some point, I do want to get together with Brother Plank and, talk with him a little bit about AI. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. Fundamentally, just from a technological point, oh my God, my words. This is how you know I haven't had like any type of talking or human interaction really when it comes to like creating content. So forgive me. I'm a little rusty. I haven't done this in a while. I'm sitting here having to like close my eyes and like really recall who I am as a content creator and trying to piece this together. But, bear with me. Thank you guys. Also make sure to rate this 5 stars because that would be greatly appreciated. But yeah, okay, let's start this off, man. From a technological standpoint, there really is no like excuse anymore. If you ever really wanted to be a content creator, now is absolutely the time to do so. Like, AI has been super fucking trippy, man. Not gonna lie to you. There's so many applications to it, and there's so many people that are actually worried about AI, which is so crazy to see, because it's like, why? That's just basic human evolution. I think I was watching a clip. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this clip. Okay, I was actually watching a very interesting clip on TikTok, which is a whole nother conversation that we have to catch up on. But I was watching this clip from the Joe Rogan podcast with Howie Mandel on this episode, and they were talking about AI essentially. And they were saying the applications of it, which not applications like apps, like as we use things. I mean applications as in like the use of AI. Honestly, some of the most creative things ever could really be done. Hold on, let me go ahead and grab a clip here so we can listen to this. Hold on. Now, I don't normally cite the Joe Rogan podcast as something that I would like, you know, hey, this is useful information, but I found this pretty interesting.
But it's like Columbus, you know, like everybody thought the world was flat. He got a couple of people to get on a boat and we didn't know what that was going to mean.
See if we can find where Elon talks about this part, because that was the most fascinating to me.
I mean, the reason OpenAI exists at all is
this is what he said earlier, but it's going to continue.
Larry Page and I used to be close friends, and I would stay at his house in Palo Alto, and I would talk to him.
You got to realize these are the people that are at the pinnacle of technology,
and they're having slumber parties.
Was that Larry
they're
was
very
not
aware.
taking AI safety seriously enough.
What did he say about it?
He really seemed to be one sort of digital superintelligence, basically digital God, if you will, as soon as possible.
He wanted that?
Yes. He's made many public statements over the years that the whole goal of Google is what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence, or artificial superintelligence. No, and I agree with him that there's great potential for good, but there's also potential for bad. And so if you've got some radical new technology, you want to try to take a set of actions that maximize the probability it will do good and minimize the probability it will do bad things.
Yes.
It can't just be hell for leather. Let's just go, barreling forward and, hope for the best. And then at one point, I said, well, what about, we're going to make sure humanity's okay here. And
Michael laughed.
And then he called me a speciesist.
Did he use that term?
Yes. And there were witnesses. I wasn't the only one there when he called me a speciesist. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Yes, I'm a speciesist. Okay. You got me. What are you? Yeah, I'm fully a speciesist.
That's a funny
busted.
line.
Busted.
So that was the last straw. At the time...
How wild is that?
It is wild.
But these are the people that are in control of this thing. And I think there's also this race that's going on. There's all these different companies around the world that are trying to develop artificial general intelligence first.
Everything can have a really dark, bad side, and we can't control it. So I think even talking about it the way you're talking about it is scary, and I don't know that it's...
Can I scare you with this?
Let's scare me with this.
This was on 60 Minutes last night. They did a whole piece.
Oh, that's right. I saw this. One AI program spoke in a foreign language it was never trained to know. This mysterious behavior called emergent properties has been happening, where AI unexpectedly teaches itself a new skill.
Like a minute in, he says something that I think is pretty
This is bananas.
Go ahead.
This is on CBS.
Is called emergent properties. Some AI systems are teaching themselves skills that they weren't expected to have. How this happens is not well understood. For example, one Google AI program adapted on its own after it was prompted in the language of Bangladesh, which it was not trained to know.
We discovered that with very few amounts of prompting in Bengali, it can now translate all of Bengali. So now all of a sudden, we now have a research effort where we're now trying to get to 1,000 languages.
There is an aspect of this which we call, all of us in the field call it as a black box. You don't fully understand, and you can't quite tell why it said this or why it got wrong. We have some ideas, and our ability to understand this gets better over time. but that's where the state of the art is.
You don't fully understand how it works, and yet you've turned it loose on society?
Let me put it this way. I don't think we fully understand how a human mind works either.
Was it from that black box we wondered that...
Unless you want the rest of this is about what they're talking about earlier.
What else are they saying here?
That's like he wrote a poem and they're asking why did it write that way.
Why does that scare you guys so much? Why does that?
Listen, it's alive. It's not whether or not it's scary. It's a kind of life form.
But here's the thing. I am really fearful of humanity. I'm really afraid of us.
Let's hope that's not afraid of us too. Decides to get rid of us.
Well, or make us better, or you know,
Sure.
and that's a 50-50. And I would like to, you know, I have enough negativity, and I'm not talking, it's not about me, but going on in my mind where if I don't know, and I'm assuming that it is a higher power than me, not God, but it is a higher power than me, that maybe for whatever reason, let's trust that it is a benefit and not not something that's horrible.
Well, I certainly hope. I hope it's a benefit.
What you just played for me didn't scare me.
Now, this is very interesting. So as I was like listening throughout this clip and listening to specifically what Joe was citing, specifically with Elon and Tucker Carlson, it's very interesting because AI is kind of like this thing. It's like think of it like a bottle of toothpaste, right? A container of toothpaste. Once you get the toothpaste out, as intended, once you put it on your toothbrush and you get ready to brush your teeth, you cannot put that toothpaste back in the packaging. Like you can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle, is the saying. So AI was eventually inevitable. And it's so interesting because I was talking to somebody literally just today about how great the concept of AI is right now in its early stages. It really, honestly, a lot of things are going to be almost movie-esque to the point to where like we're almost reliving scenes of the Matrix 50, 100 years in the future. They're really going to be like, wow, AI should have been something that was never, ever tampered with. But it was inevitable. It's going to happen. It's technology that is based off of things that have currently already exist. Imagine it this way. If your brain worked this way, right? Follow me here, because this is going to get a little weird. Let's put our tinfoil hats on and try to keep up with Jay on this one, okay? So we're going to use the application of, almost like in the video, let's use the application of learning a language, right? Imagine how long it takes for human evolution to take place and certain languages to exist and no longer exist, right? So, for example, Latin. Latin is a language that currently does exist, but is not necessarily used like English, Spanish, French, or anything like that. It's considered a quote-unquote dead language that has not been actively used throughout human history in such a long period of time. I don't know how long. I'm not gonna Google it. I'm not gonna research it. Just, you know, you can research it. But listen, it's one of those considered quote-unquote dead languages. And if it's not, it's not. You know, I'm obviously wrong on my own fucking podcast. Who cares? But even if we can use French or German or languages that are currently being actively used, imagine if your brain was able to hear a conversation between two people speaking a different language than you. They're both two people right in front of you. Say you're at the airport or you're waiting in line, getting some food or something at Chick-fil-A, and you hear these two people speaking in French, right? Your brain is able to hear these things, recognize certain patterns, the use, the cadence in which they're spoke, and instantaneously, just like that, you can understand what they're saying in French. All you had to do was hear like a certain amount. You had to hear a certain amount of words, context, and patterns in order to be able to understand. Now, as I explain this, that sounds impossible, right? Humans can't do that. It would take time. You have to hear every single word. You have to hear every single definition of those words, the uses, and how the French language is determined in sentences compared to hyperbole, compared to similes, different ways that language is spoken between humans, right? But whereas a machine can suddenly have access to the internet, right? That's the thing. That's where we're kind of, the disconnect is. Your human brain does not have access to a higher conscious, right? Your human brain does not have access to a bigger brain that is housing all of this data in order for you to pull that information for you to instantly know French. But whereas machines are able to do that, it's almost as if humans had a connected conscious to each other, right? Almost like what was that Elon was talking about? It's like wow, I can't believe I am spacing on this, but essentially it's a neural network. There it is. It's a neural network where all humans are connected on the same wavelength, right? Now, once again, we remember, guys, we have our tinfoil hats on, okay? We're imagining this perfect human utopian society. Each person obviously is going to have, security, so your brain can't be hacked and stuff like that. Listen, I'm not going to cover all of the tiny details, but all humans have access to this higher network, okay? Which essentially we do in our phones, in our pockets. We have access to vast more information. The reason why we don't use that information as effectively as we can is because the time it takes for my brain to process a thought. How do I say this in French, right? The fastest we can do it is hold the button, hey Siri, and then recite what it is. Oh shit, not my phone actually doing it. So the fastest thing we can do is ask our devices, hey, can you decipher this? Can you translate this? And then we wait for the machine to go dee-doo-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee and pull up whatever French sentence that we just heard. So there's a buffer right there. There's time that takes place in order to receive that information. What if it didn't? What if you were instantly able to access Google, for example, and you could Google something literally in your brain right now because you have access to this bigger network, the internet. You could just Google in real time as you're speaking to somebody, how do I say this in French, right? Boom, there it is. The information is access to you. This is just the beginning stages, and this is why I say technologically, there is no excuse for not being a content creator. There is no excuse for not starting your own business. There is no excuse for, technologically speaking, obviously if you don't apply the tools that are available to you, then you're kind of, assed out. I mean, you could do so many things with AI right now while it's in its infancy. And it could be, like how he said, it could be considered scary. And like Elon said, there are tremendous good that you can do with it, also tremendous bad. One of the things that is going on right now in the world in entertainment is specifically the WGA strike, which for those of you on all sorts of the planet who don't know what that is the Writers Guild of America. Okay, so essentially it is the union of writers for American television shows, right? And I believe they're unionized in other countries, but I'm not really sure. This union specifically is asking for a couple of things. I haven't pulled up the entire list, but the last one that I'm going to mention is very interesting. So, number one, they want higher pay. Obviously, everybody wants higher pay. They want a livable wage. They want a livable salary. Specifically here in Los Angeles, it's definitely really difficult to make a living, especially in creative pursuits if you're not already, like one of these signed writers or anything like that. I mean, really think about it. Like when a TV show is made, they have 20 to 30 writers per episode for, any given series. There are tons, hundreds, thousands of people employed to write jokes, to write storylines, to write characters, everything, right? Hundreds of thousands of people, right? Cool. They want higher pay. That's something that we could definitely work on, because the argument was that previously they were paid based off of, expected DVD sales and things like that. But because obviously who really buys DVDs anymore, there are still a small group of people that do. What do we do now, guys? We stream. So they're trying to come up with ways to change those wages based off of distribution, which is streaming now. So that gets into a weird thing because you also get into movies and how long the shelf life of a movie is from the movie theaters to streaming services and physical copies. So you really have to increase how much those people make. That makes sense. Logically, that makes sense, right? So remember, we still have our tinfoil hats on, okay? Don't take those off yet, guys. The other thing is that they want to be able to be promoted more often from within these companies. Now, I know for a fact, in the entertainment industry, it's kind of a 50-50. Sometimes you will have a contract situation, right? So say I'm the head of NBC or whatever, right? Or I'm the head of Sony or whatever, and I have a TV show. So this is called the TV show, right? So the TV show has 30 to 40 writers. Let's say 30 writers for however many episodes it's expected to go 3 seasons, 12 episodes per season, right? We pay each person this amount of money. Cool. Boom. No problem. But the problem is we don't have in-house writing staff anymore. So this is where the 50-50 comes in. Some studios decide we don't have in-house writing, so we contract writers. So we go around, we have recruiters, say 10, 12 people that go around looking for writers specifically for this type of show that we're making, right? So the show now has 30 contracted writers. They're freelancers, right? They're people that we just hire. Some of them have their own writing companies, or some of them have, maybe they write books, or maybe they do something else. So they're really not tied to the studio except for on a contract basis. Then you'll have other scenarios where, let's say, the other 50%, which is we have in-house staff. So around the clock, we have 30 or 40 writers that switch from show to show to series. So you may have Jim, Bob, and Susan who all write for this one specific show on this specific day. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, cool, they're writing for that show. Then Thursday, Friday, they come and write for one of our other shows, one of our other talk shows. So sometimes that also happens. Then those people may also have their own jobs that they do on the side, or contract work, or, gig work or something like that. One of them's probably a Lyft driver part-time. Who knows, right? These are made up people in this scenario. So cool. That's the second thing. Another thing that they wanted to ask specifically in this strike, one of the demands, is to try to AI proof the entertainment industry, which is super difficult because, once again, this is inevitable. Once the toothpaste is out of the bottle, that's it. You can't really put it back in there. Now, could I Google how toothpaste gets in the bottle in the first place? Yeah, sure. Obviously, I could, but how many people have the machine to be able to do that, right? So let's stop asking silly questions. We have our tinfoil hat on, okay? Tinfoil time, baby. So once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in. The problem with AI being able to come up with 10 ideas per episode, like I was literally using ChatGPT the other day. I was like, give me 10 ideas specifically on creating this type of content. Give me a script for this, make it sound witty, this, that, and the other thing. And next thing I knew, I had a 20-minute video planned out on the evolution of Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. It literally took like 2 minutes. And the thing that took the most time was literally me typing out to the machine what I wanted in the video, how I wanted it to sound. And then when I read it out loud, I was like, this is an amazing fucking video. This would go crazy on YouTube Shorts. This would go crazy on TikTok. This would go crazy on Instagram Reels, right? Boom. There it is. And this thing, the machine could come up with hundreds of ideas if I asked it to, right? Put it in a chart. Give me SEO. Give me the likeliness that a video will go viral. What things do I need to change? Pretend to be other content creators critiquing it. I made a prompt in ChatGPT just asking, pretend to be Mr. Beast and make a viral anime video. This thing came up with 10 amazing ideas to where I was like, damn, I would actually watch this. There was a video idea, it said, where it would pay, go to like a costume store and offer somebody $1,000 in winnings if they could come up with the best anime related content and original story, and give them like 20 minutes in this costume store to come up with whatever they want, and then give them the winner $1,000. You know what I mean? Like, that was one of the ones. There was another one where it was like 24-hour anime challenge, and it was like, watch and like consume as many manga or anime as possible within a 24-hour period, and you win $1,000. Like it was just coming up with crazy shit, and I was like, damn, that probably would be a pretty good video. And then there was another one that was like it was kind of like a Squid Games one, where it was like, oh yeah, physical anime challenges. So basically like Ninja Warrior, except they were based off of different anime and stuff like that. I was like, holy shit, like this is crazy. This is crazy that it's able to come up with this. So now, technologically speaking, there is no way that you can't have these things. And this is a huge issue specifically for the WGA, because these are people that their job is literally to come up with ideas. Their job is literally to come up with dialogue and characters and stuff like that. But when you can have an AI, right, a machine that is connected to a central intelligence network, right, that can cite other anime, it can cite music, it can cite character tropes, it can cite anything that has ever been typed into the internet, it can cite that. And that is so crazy, because it can come up with excuses and reasons for certain characters to live, certain characters to die within storylines, be able to back that up, foreshadow from the beginning all the way to the end, because once again, it's on a central network. It doesn't have to constantly think, oh, that's right, I forgot I killed this character off. It doesn't pull a fucking Toriyama or whatever where he forgets that Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3 exist. It doesn't forget things, okay? It just comes up with all of these ideas and then is able to randomize them within seconds. Why would I pay a staff of 30 to 40 people, hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary? You know, if I'm a studio head, if I'm a studio exec, why would I do that? I could just hire maybe 1 to 5 AI liaisons that can come up with hundreds of stories each. Like in a week episode, if I'm filming the show, right? Obviously, I still have to hire production people. I still have to hire directors, actors, things like that. But the whole producers, executive producers, the whole problem with coming up with the show idea part is they are probably the most expendable people. And now it's even reached kind of to post-production and actual producing, because not only coming up with these ideas, but essentially producers bring the director's vision and the writer's, IP together. That's essentially what they do. And the director is supposed to really put that together and put his spin and his vision on it, right? There's so many jobs that can be taken out because of AI. But really, it's like, if your job can be taken by a machine, how important was your job really? You know what I mean? Like, remember guys, we still have our tinfoil hats on, right? Think back to, I know most of you guys weren't alive, neither was I. Think back to the time when the radio was king, right? When you had a business, or you were selling mattresses, or when you were having a lemonade stand or something, how did you advertise that 50 years ago? How did you advertise that 60 years ago? Through the radio, through TV. You know, like at a certain point, the TV did not exist. I know, wild to think about, right? But what ruled during that time was radio. If you had some radio time where you're listening to WGN, the world's hottest hip-hop station on this side of the Mississippi, or whatever the fuck, right? Make sure to go down to Sal's Barbecue this weekend. They're having a sale, $32.99. You can get yours now. Children under the age of 6 are absolutely free. You see what I mean? Like, that was the way that you used to advertise. Now, that moved over to television in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Television was king, because now you had a visual, you had a jingle, you had visuals and stimulation, and like, wow, okay, honey, did you see that Sal's commercial last week? It was great. We should go to Sal's Barbecue this weekend. I hear they have a sale for $32. And little Jimmy, how old is he? 7? We can lie. We could just say he's under the age of 6. I'm sure they won't care. And then, next thing you know, you pull in customers. That's the next way. And I'm sure there are tons and tons and tons of people within the radio industry that lost their jobs because of that. And then, as time moved on, humans evolved even more. Technology evolved even more. We went from the TV to the internet. And then from the internet down to little bite-sized versions of the internet. We call them apps. They're applications on your phone. So you no longer have to physically go to a place. You no longer have to see a billboard or listen to something. It's literally right there in your face on your app. the thing that you use every single day. You get on TikTok, you get on YouTube, you get on Instagram, you get on Facebook. Well, some people get on Facebook. You get on all of these things. It's right there, advertising right in front of your face. You think the guys that were doing advertisement on radio still have jobs? Absolutely not. Unless they were good at what they did. Some of those people evolved from industry to industry to industry. So they went from radio, they went from TV. They're now creating commercials on the internet, still doing Super Bowl ads. These are people that are still hireable. But as we move forward, now it's trying to replace them. So I understand why the WGA is going the way that they are. But I would say I'm one of the people that gracefully embrace AI right now. In its early stages. I'm sure later on it's going to be fucking hell. Nobody's going to be able to do anything. Nobody's going to have any jobs, but I'll be long gone by then. I'll be dead. For sure. 100%. Like, this podcast episode will exist somewhere in the ether, somewhere in the internet, and somebody else later on in life, 50, 100 years, is going to cite my episode of Canon Culture, this specific episode, as this guy told us, this guy right here, this guy Jay told us ahead of time, this was going to spiral out of control, because it does. That's what humans do. We create something, we do really amazing, great things with it, and somebody, somewhere, tries to fuck it up and successfully fucks it up, ruins it for everyone. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. That's part of the human experience. It sucks. Is this the end of civilization? We're probably on a slippery slope. But hey, as long as we got our tinfoil hats on, boys, we will be okay. But really, I really enjoy AI right now as it is. It's going to evolve into a place where it's just like, oh, is that a real person talking? Honestly, if it wasn't for my little mistakes here and there, I could have cloned my voice, created a YouTube short channel or even a YouTube channel and Instagram page, and done nothing except for type into ChatGPT, make an episode talking specifically about the dangers of AI. Give me 10 reasons why it's good, 10 reasons why it's bad, cite Joe Rogan and some other popular podcasters and even some other things in order to make this episode good. Use Just Jay Sama's voice, have the cadence on some of the more important topics, enter. Boom. Comes up with a 20-minute log of conversation, and it sounds just like me. Maybe it needs some tweaking here and there, but it's okay. We got AI in the editor. We got AI in the Premiere Pro. Boom. Slap that in there. No problem. Need visuals? Absolutely no problem. We can create digital avatars that look lifelike with AI art. Easily. Need a distribution? Boom. We have AI Hootsuite now. So all you have to do is click, drag and drop, and upload it. So not only did we take out the human element of it, all I had to do was write it. I didn't really have to speak anything. This whole entire episode could be run by AI right now. Who would really know? How would you really know? And the bigger question, would you really even care? No, you wouldn't. Because just as long as it's there, as long as you have access to it, you're happy. You're content with it. You're like, fuck that. I got my episode of Canon Culture. I'll see him back next week. That's it. That's it. It's over. Come on now. Thumbnails can be made with AI. Music generated with AI. I mean, I saw a Mordecai video featuring SpongeBob. Listen to this.
Was all alone with the love of my life. She's got glitter for skin, my baby, and deep in the night. I don't need no light to see you shine. It's your golden.
Now, for those of you who don't know, that was Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob, right? And J.G. Quintel, the voice of Mordecai. Neither of those gentlemen sang this song. This song is called Golden Hour, okay? Neither of those gentlemen actually sat together in a booth and recorded this song. That's how crazy this is. There has been a viral song of Drake and The Weeknd.
I came in with my ex like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever ain't left. She know what she need, all she blessed, giving my best. Got my heart on my sleeve with a knife in my back. What's with that? 21, I love him, then my brother, that's my stack.
Heart on My Sleeve. That's the song that was never made. It was never actually made by The Weeknd and Drake. So much so that WMG, Warner Music Group, yeah, the guys that pretty much fuck everything up on the internet, yeah, I'm surprised they will allow my episode up just because I cited it, okay? These guys are going through every single hoop they can to try and ban AI music. But here, check this out. This is why AI is so amazing. The fact that the beat was made with AI, the artist on it was made with AI, the distribution is the internet. We are in a completely wild west, okay, when it comes to AI. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is going to be the best part. It's never going to get worse from here. It's never going to go downhill where it's like, oh, AI was just a fad. No, it's really not. It's really, really not. And that's the best part. I won't be alive to see it, but it'll be very interesting to see where it goes. Now, if you have a way to create content, edit it, put it out, start a business, you can ask your AI, make me a website. You can draw a little doodle, scan it in your computer, have the AI build you an entire website based off of that, all for like 99 cents, $3.99, $5.99, $9.99 a monthly subscription to upkeep your website. You can have AI email multiple people on a contact list on a regular basis, speak with them, contact them, asking them about your business. You know, you could do anything. Have an AI 3D print shit for you. The only thing you would really have to do is, I'm sure there's a way to automate it, package everything and ship it out. You could create an entire business with nothing because of AI now. So really, AI is only as good as the human brain can make it right now. But the problem with that is AI eventually will be able to teach itself things. It will be able to access this central intelligence network, and without any limitations, without people like Elon being in the way of, hey, let's actually think about humanity here for a second. Without people like that trying to put limitations on it, this is how far AI can go. If we could stay in this particular moment when it comes to the development technologically of AI, if it didn't get any more advanced, right? We didn't give it any more access to the internet. We definitely didn't give it access to any type of physical attributes in the world, right? We just limit it right here. This is the best that it would be. AI is making huge breakthroughs in the medical space, in the aerospace industry, everywhere. It's making everything that much better, but it's going to reach a point where it plateaus and everything becomes a shit show after that. Because AI is great when it comes to all of these things that are small applications for us. Sure, why not? Creating content, ordering things for your fridge. But then as soon as we start getting to the point where it's like AI is now running traffic, 100% automated autonomous cars, but there's still human drivers out there, that's gonna be a little weird. Because there's a lot of social nuance that only humans interacting with other humans can have. I was talking to somebody today, literally, like we were talking about driving. Autonomous cars need their own lanes. They need their own roads to where only autonomous vehicles can be on that. If you still want to drive, you can drive. Great, cool. Sit in traffic all you want to, but the autonomous vehicles don't. Because when you introduce the human element to it, you introduce mistakes. You introduce those social nuances that if you're changing lanes and you're not sure if you have enough room, and the person that's behind you, that you're changing lanes into, that you're trying to merge, they flash their headlights at you. hey, it's clear to go. A machine's not gonna really get that unless you program that, unless that's accessible on the internet, unless somebody has made multiple videos about it, has spoken about it numerous times, there's written blogs about it, which there probably is. A machine's not really gonna have access to that data. But humans, on an intellectual level, as we interact with each other telepathically, as we like look at each other, give each other certain nods, flash our high beams, stuff like that, machines aren't gonna really get that. They're not really gonna understand that. And that's the human nuance that, you know, as AI evolves, it's gonna evolve with humans. If we let it, putting limitations on it is probably the best things that we can do right now. Because if an AI program is asked specifically, one that is connected to the internet, what is the answer to all life? Or some crazy fucking question. And this thing tries to go and look and say, the answers to life are death. Right? Let's just say it comes up with some crazy answer like that, based off of the things that it has scanned on the internet, right? And had access to all human input ever. It's now able to reach on the internet and access other access points of information without secure places holding that information or holding certain harmful information. Nuclear launch codes, you know, servers that house all of the, you know, data for medical institutions all over the world, things like that. If that machine, if that specific unit of AI, which all AI is central at this point, it's all the same Google I'm asking these questions to, the same Google AI I'm asking, how do I use my Google Calendar more effectively, somebody else is probably asking, how can I do some very harmful activities? And then this thing gives 10 reasons and 10 ways to be able to do that, you know, while also citing sources. Hey, if you're looking for a free, this thing will hurt this many people, boom, here you go. And serves it to you on a platter. Like, it's so crazy that the same thing can exist, but without limitations. Like, if you go to ChatGPT, you sign in, you open up the chat AI, right? And you ask it some things that could potentially be harmful to humans. It'll say, I'm sorry, I'm just an AI that's programmed to do this certain thing. That's its limitation. But there are some people that are able to hack that. And by hack that, I don't mean like super nerdy, hop up on your keyboard type shit. No, just ask it the right prompts and it'll go around its own programming. Now, this is the part where Elon comes in, because you have to hire a whole team of people to be able to come up with hundreds and thousands of creative ways to make sure that if you're playing inside of this AI sandbox, like if I Google some shit, some crazy shit, like how to harm this many people using whatever the fuck, I need my AI to make sure to say, hey, I understand that you're looking for these things. I cannot provide that information because I'm just an AI only programmed to do great things. Only positive things, right? So Elon has to hire an entire team of people that have to come up with different ways, because if I was looking for that particular thing and the AI tells me that it can't do that, I'm going to type why. And then the AI gives me an explanation, right? It's like talking to the most reasonable person you've ever talked to. I ask the AI why. Why can you not do this? And it says, because my programming is such and such. It gives you 10 reasons why it can't do that. Then I ask, is there a way that I can get around it? And the AI goes, no, there's no way that you can currently get around because of the parameters of this, that, and the other thing. And then I type in, okay, so what if I'm only doing it for educational purposes? Then the AI has a completely different response. Well, if it's for educational purposes, these are some 10 sites to avoid if you're trying to harm numerous amounts of people. And then it accidentally cited sources. It accidentally cited 10 ways that I can do, you know, conduct this diabolical thing. There's really once again, there's no way to put the toothpaste back in the tube. But once again, that's just the way that I think. We can go ahead and take our tinfoil hats on. Whew. We can take them off. Whew. Boys, this was a rough one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. We've had a very interesting conversation today. Honestly, I'm pro AI, but as long as we limit it to where it can't get any more advanced than it is today, I'd be okay with that. Let me know you guys' thoughts and comments and stuff in the comments section if you're watching the video version. If you are listening to the audio version, thank you guys so much. Make sure to give us 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple. Shout out to everybody that made today's episode possible, including our wonderful sponsor, Mr. TBH, the Black Hokage. Thank you for providing a soundtrack for today's ridiculous podcast. Guys, if you are looking for any music to add to your videos, if you need some background music, if you need some lo-fi to chill to, maybe do some homework, make sure to go and check out the link down in the description. The Black Hokage's got you. Anyway, but that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been your man, Just Jay Sama. I will see you guys on the next one. Make sure to keep it canon.